Hi, everyone. Welcome to Marty and Shane, Lifted and Twisted. Stories without borders, joy without limits. This is where hearts meet across culture and everyday life becomes a story worth a telling. That's my partner, Marty.
Hey guys, it's so good to be here. And what I want to share first is I just want to introduce you to Shane. Because Shane is a devoted mama. She has a young man, Jacob, and she's also a financial service professional. So she actually is bridging East and West. Okay, because she was raised actually in the US. And then she went back to Taiwan for like a decade. And so she really got more familiar with her own background and her own upbringing again. And what was great is she relearned the language and she was immersed in her own culture for a while, which was beautiful. And then she came back and she lives right now in California. And she's getting ready to move to Texas, though. And so she's really kind of like she has an appreciation for both worlds, and she's really interesting because it allows her to bring the Eastern way of culture into the Western. And she and I got together and decided that we wanted to share a lot of things with people, and we want to bring people together and hear people's stories and be able to learn from each other. So here we are. So I'm super excited to be on here, with Shane. And yeah, she has what I love about her so much is she has a need to really be able to reach out and connect with people. She has empathy and she's got passion and compassion, which is really important today, and a lot of insight because of her background from Taiwan and also living here in the US. So we're happy to be together with you.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you for
Shane,
that
tell me this.
introduction.
Yeah,
Yep.
tell me this. Tell me how old were you when you first came to the US? You were born here.
I wasn't born here. I was born in Taiwan. I first came when I was in the first grade. And we went to Nebraska. And I can't remember what happened. We went back to Taiwan for a couple of years and then we came back. And that was the actual move from Taiwan to the United States. And I have to say, growing up, I grew up in Northern California, right? In the little town Santa Rosa. Growing up there, I didn't feel that I was a different color person. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I was so well loved by everyone around me. From what I can remember, I think my brother and I were the very few Asians that were there. Okay. And people thought, well, it must have been hard, right? Because you stand out, but I never felt that. Never
Yeah,
felt
that's
that.
great.
Yeah, so going into, I really have to appreciate my elementary school teacher. When I started elementary school, because I was from Taiwan, the teacher actually bought a map of Taiwan and taught everyone, like, where is Taiwan and what it has and all that stuff.
I
So,
love that.
yeah, I mean, that's love, right?
Yeah.
Everyone accepted me for just how who I was. I didn't speak one word of English, but my first word was shut up. First words. Yeah. So I know, you learn bad words first, right?
Well, you know
And
what? That is
yeah.
that says a lot about the US is a melting pot. And that's what's beautiful. You can come from any place in the world and you can be accepted. Of course, it matters if you're coming legally as opposed to unlegally, but it's a beautiful place to be able to come in and feel at home. I love that.
Well, I should make it clear I did come here legally. My dad said, "Oh, they're asking you guys to come now, right? So because he was applying for our permanent residence, and so then that's why we came back.
Okay. All right.
I know that's a huge issue right
It
now.
it is. That's why I thought, you know what? But the thing is that we all have to remember in the U.S. that it is a melting pot, and
It is.
everybody is welcome. We just all have to be able to be here legally, so we can all participate in the entire environment. And I think that anybody that's here legally can appreciate that. They all would like people to be here, in a way that we're all participating together. Because, technically, I know this is like a big cliche, but we are all one. It doesn't matter what color, what culture, whatever that. So we're all here for each other. So that's beautiful. I didn't know that whole story. That's great.
Yeah, so I really appreciated growing up in Northern California. And when I knew I was different, it was when I moved to down south, Southern California. There's cliques in schools, and people look at me like, why are you so whitewashed? They call me Twinkie, they call me banana. Why can't you dress like an Asian girl? Things like that. And
Why
I could
is
not.
that? Why is
I could
that?
not connect initially, Marty, and I didn't know that a person could be judged in that sense, right? Or be called these names. But yes, because I think in Southern California, things, people, okay, it's more separated, as in, okay, maybe the Asians hang out with the Asians, and then whatever color, race you are, you hang out with your own. And because I didn't grow up with that, so I didn't know. And when they start calling me these names, I just thought, like, wow, people in LA are really, really mean. But that was a huge culture shock for me,
Wow.
letting me know that I am different. I am not what I thought I was. And that's like the starting of learning about the whole Asian culture. And it was tough.
I bet
I have to
it
say high
is.
school was a little tough, okay?
But that's made you stronger, right?
Yes, it has. And the different point of views with the kids here when I was in high school, when I moved to LA, it was, everybody looked at you with the things that you have, and they judge you with that. So very materialistic, right? And I was not brought up in that way, that I have no idea what is Prada. Like, I have no idea. But people here are like, yes, you know, I carry a Prada to school, and I was like, what is that, right? I'm still stuck on like Esprit. So, that kind of shows my age, right? Because I don't think Esprit exists anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was tough. Yeah, it was tough, having to really drastically change, okay, and trying to understand, okay, the Asian culture here in Southern California is like this, and you will be judged with the things that you have, and you will be judged with what you look like, how you dress, and basically the moment they see you, they put a label on you.
Right. Wow, that has to be hard. That has to be hard. And for all the listeners that are just getting to know us, that's something that would be really great to be able to share, because that helps everybody with understanding how to navigate, because that's learning how to navigate through a difference in wherever you're living. And I think that in some ways we can all appreciate that, in different ways than what you just described sometimes, but still I think we're all able to relate to what you were must have been feeling and the difficulty of it.
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people probably went through the same thing I did. And I didn't think people were that mean because I did not grow up with mean people. And just, I didn't even know my skin color was different. I mean, I just, it was difficult, to try to adjust myself to, I guess, fit in, right? but then when I asked the question back to the people who said these mean things to me, like, how does an Asian girl dress? How are you supposed to dress like as an Asian girl? Like I didn't understand what they're saying. Like, how does an Asian, even up to now, to me, it's like, how does an Asian girl dress? I don't know, right? Like, I
Well, when
thought,
you go to Taiwan, though, does that look different, or do they look very American?
no, it's same thing, very relaxed t-shirt, jeans, shorts, whatever it is.
Okay.
It's nothing different, right? So I, that's why up to this day, I still don't know, like, how does an Asian girl dress? Like, literally, I could not, I still can't comprehend. And I still remember that boy's name. That's,
That reminds me, so many things when we're growing up that mean maybe nothing to one person makes a huge difference and can change someone's life. When you're little and you're told something that's really nasty, it's hard to sometimes let go of that.
for sure,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
that
Yeah.
keeps around with me.
Not a
Well,
scar in my heart, but then it was just like something that I've wondered forever, like thinking, I thought, growing up, I thought we identify ourselves as ourself, right? Like
yeah,
myself, and I dress what I like. I choose what I like to do whatever that I like. But coming to LA, being put on a label saying you're a banana, you're a Twinkie,
yeah.
you don't dress like an Asian girl. And yeah, it was just something that, I don't know. I was saying, Marty, you don't dress like a white girl. I don't know. Like, how does a white girl dress? Like, even for any other race, right? I still can't comprehend, but it's funny. I think it's something that's funny that happened.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. And so now let me introduce you all to Marty. Marty, she has 40 years of experience in the beauty and wellness industry. And
That
she's
makes me feel
also,
really old.
well, I mean, you have an excellent resume, right? Like for me, I'm a mom. I have nothing to share to
I got
everyone.
some years on you, girl.
And she's also a licensed financial service professional, okay? But something great that she has is she is a certified health educator, a detoxification and regenerative health specialist, and also a health coach. She created a seaweed based personal products for Hippocrates Wellness, and later she launched her own signature line, Soma Psyche, which means body and soul. Tell me more about that, because as I'm aging, Marty, I don't want to say so into like skincare products and body care products, right? Not so into, but I start to care now.
Well, and you know what? I think when we're young, we think we're invincible, right? Like we don't really need all that stuff. But one of the things that I have been working on for a while, I have a couple books going on right now. And my first one was all about the beauty industry because I have been in it for a long time. Shane, when I first got in it, it took me a little while to realize that what we're using in salons is really dangerous. From back when I first got into it, we used a lot of hairspray, okay, which is really bad for the lungs. But then when you looked at everything and all the color and all of the highlighting products and all of the shampoos and the conditioners and the masks, everything that was going on to the hair and ultimately it's going into the skin. Did you know that over 65% of what we actually apply to our skin becomes part of our body inside? And our skin is our largest living organ. So if you think about that, everything that we put on, and so I live in Florida, and here, a lot of people, and my husband and I are both captains, and we have a charter boat. So we have charters all the time, and we have people all the time coming onto the boat and putting on all this sunscreen. And it's so hard for me because most of that sunscreen is what is creating cancer. Most of the time, people are like, the doctors tell you, stay out of the sun. And the sun is actually good for us. It gives us our vitamin D. It does, we could talk about lots of different things around that because when you're out in the sun and you have sunglasses on, it's actually keeping you from absorbing your vitamin D. So you don't want to do that.
I
Okay?
did not know that
Yeah.
because we're taught that the sun will hurt our eyes, right? So you always want to have sunglasses on, or this may happen to your eyes, or that may happen to your eyes. But anyway, this is what happened. You'll look like me, like a ghost, if you stay out of the sun, okay? Because that's what I do.
Well, here's why. Let me just explain why. Because I think that oftentimes people don't really listen unless it makes sense, right? Like I always tell all of my clients, look, if I tell you to do something and it doesn't resonate, don't do it. Because, if it doesn't make sense, then it's not maybe something that you should be doing. So, but the thing is this, when we put something dark over our eyes and we go out in the sun and it's dark, it doesn't allow the body to realize that it's in this bright sun and that it has to bring the
I see what
melatonin,
you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
to the surface to protect itself. So you're actually telling it a lie in a way, you're deceiving it. So now, at the same time, one of the things I worked with this doctor who is amazing, and at some point, Shane, we will interview her. And she's incredible. She's an eye doctor from Pittsburgh, and she did a study with some of us, and part of the study was all about being able to make your eyes stronger. And in the morning, when you first get up, like the sunrise, if you just take 2 minutes and look at the sun rising for 2 minutes, it strengthens your eyes. And if you can do it at night, at the end of the day, it also is useful. Now, we don't want you out there looking straight at the sun at noon, okay? Because no, that's not good for your eyes, okay? But so I'm not saying never wear your sunglasses, but don't wear your sunglasses most of the time when you're out there. But if you have to be in the sun for like, hours at a time, you may need your glasses some of that time. But if you immediately put them on before you walk out the door and your body is like totally it doesn't understand that you're about to go into something that you need protected with. So don't put them on right away. Let your body get accustomed to being in the sun, and maybe after a while put them on. But I hope that makes sense to people because that is the reason. The reason is you're not allowing your body to adjust its own melatonin to what needs to be, there to protect it.
Well, that makes total sense, right? Because we do a lot of things to trick our bodies now.
Yeah.
So, you know, different things happen to people, and sometimes it's mysterious. We don't know why, and so that makes total sense. And I wanted to go back to this whole sunscreen thing. Okay, I know I read some articles about how toxic sunscreens are, and you know, currently, right now, the Korean beauty stuff is very, very popular, right? And I read some articles that saying why sunscreen. Okay, why is Korean sunscreen so popular? Due to the fact that their ingredients are different than the stuff that's made in the US. They have better ingredients and all of that stuff. What do you think about that? Because that's something that's been told forever, right? You need sunscreen, you need sunscreen. And for myself, I'm like, psh, sunglasses. I don't know, like, I look like Power Ranger when I go outside, right?
Okay, well we're gonna change gears with that, okay? Um, First of all, sunscreens in general, there's really two things that you can use that's totally good. The big one is zinc. Okay, I have a product that is, oh, it's full zinc, but it's clear. So you don't have to look crazy and be white.
Like that white cast stuff, right?
Exactly, yes. So zinc is one, because it's a mineral, okay? It's actually really good for us. So that's the best thing that anybody could use, no matter what skin you have. Now, as a sailor, you will see oftentimes a lot of us out there wearing white linen. And we wear white linen because white linen is really healthy for you. There's no, there's no synthetics in it. And it also keeps the sun rays away from your skin. So you don't have to put lather up everywhere. You can, put a long sleeve, lightweight linen, shirt on and pants on. And of course, wearing a hat is also good. So if people just did that and didn't wear any zinc or anything, they would most likely be pretty safe. But if you're
Okay.
going to wear something, zinc, titanium dioxide is another ingredient. But let me tell you about this because this is really good for the listeners. One site that's really good for anybody to go to is called ewg.org. It's the Environmental Working Group website. And ewg.org, and then you could do /skin deep, will give you lots of different possibilities of products that you can use. And I don't know, they're probably made from all over the world, I would assume, but they will grade them for you. So it'll tell you what's in them, the ingredients. It'll also tell you, is this a little bit toxic? Is this a lot toxic? Or is this clean? So it's a great way for people to have a resource to go to. As a matter of fact, it also has something that's really important that I use on all of my clients, and that is two different things for food. And one is the Dirty Dozen, which tells you what you absolutely have to have organic when you purchase it and have it going into your body. And then there's the 15, it's called the Clean 15. And those are things that you don't have to have organic, that you can buy it however it is, and it's going to be safe for you. So maybe the next time we get on a podcast, I can share those with you guys. Or you can go to EWG website. It's ewg.org, and it tells you the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And that's a great way for you to do your shopping with and be healthier.
Yeah, that's great information that we can give to our listeners, and I'll have the information up on under the episode. So if everyone is curious, you guys can go on to the website and do your own research. And of course, we'll do more episodes with Marty sharing these wonderful things. I said to Marty once, I'm not that child that you would like to have. If I was your kid, you would want to like grab me by the feet and spank me because I'm a horrible healthy like I'm just horrible. I eat horribly. I'm not very healthy in general, but
Let's
when I
take
go to
that
the
back.
doctors, I come
Let's
out to be
take
healthy.
Shane today, and let's say from now on, Shane is healthy. Because you know what? Our bodies listen to what we say. They do. Okay. And so, let me just say this. We used to tell people this at the Institute all the time. The body follows the mind. Okay. So guys, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're taking in, and that's what's in your mind, you actually are creating your life around that. So I would suggest that you start loving your body, talking to your body about how healthy it is, and thank it. Be in gratitude. Say thank you. And God created us, right? Our creator is God. And so when you think about God creating this incredible body that we have to live in here, and we have that to share too. I have an amazing thing to share with you that I have put in my book that Shane has already heard. But it's about how miraculous our bodies are. But what I just want to say right now is be careful the words that you are using, especially when you're thinking, because we're all critical of ourselves. We look in the mirror and go, oh my God, look at my hair. It looks ridiculous. Oh my God, look at my skin. I'm all broke out. Whatever it is, try right now to really love yourself and not be so critical and judgmental. Okay. And that will help your body heal faster. So, instead of saying, I'm really unhealthy, no, you're healthy. You're healthy. And you're learning
Um,
every day how to be more healthy.
I am. I am. I think as I'm aging, I am learning a lot on less spam, more vegetables, right?
Yes, I love it.
and, but I have to agree with what you're saying, the whole mind to the body thing. Previously, when I was in Taiwan, right before I came back, I was sick. So I took a lot of medication. And I think the medication just kind of throw my entire body off balance. And I don't know if I was retaining water or whatever it was, but I gained so much weight, right? And I thought, gosh, I'm moving back to the States. I can't look like this. I'm going to go see my friends, what am I going to do? So I thought, okay, eat less, but it didn't work. Okay, so eating less didn't work. Oh, adjusting whatever I was eating, it didn't really work too. So I started crazy workout, an hour in the morning and then an hour in the evening. But the thing was, in starting of that diet or that workout thing, okay, like crazy working out, I I was weighing myself every single day. But looking at the numbers kind of just shocked me. So initially working out, nothing happened to me
Yeah.
until one day I said, "Look, I shouldn't care about the number, right? I should look in the mirror and look at my body and say to myself, do I like what I see today?"
Yeah.
Okay, so when I kind of changed my mindset, everything started to work out. Marty, I started to slim down. I started to lose weight for some strange reason. I was still eating normally,
Yes, the
but yeah.
mindset is huge. And you sharing that reminds me so much of what oftentimes people have a hard time with when they're losing weight. And just to know, well, okay, you took all this medicine. What typically is in most of our problem, most of the bodies that when people are trying to lose weight and stuff, is inflammation. Okay, it's inflammation. And think about this. Every single thing you put in your mouth, whether it's medication or it's food, it's inflammation. And your body is being sent to work because of this information that you just put inside of it. So what happens? Your body all of a sudden, if you can just imagine all these soldiers inside of you trying to take care of you, because it's always looking for homeostasis, it's always looking to be at the best it can be. Okay, so now you're putting your liver to work, your kidneys to work, your bladder to work, your gallbladder to work, your pancreas to work. Everything starts to have to go to work. And everything is trying to figure out, where do I send this? Like all these chemicals. You put all these chemicals in and your body's like, holy cow, what do I do with this? So and when you're eating, it's the same thing. It's really better to eat less different things at one time than to eat, even when you're eating healthy stuff. If you eat a salad and you got 12 different things in a salad, it's 12 different things that your body is having to work through to try to figure out where to put and how to use and how to get rid of, you know? So, especially when you're wanting to lose weight, it's better to have a few things at one time that's going to be easier for you to for your body to figure out what to do. And that's why oftentimes fasting is really, really beneficial, because it allows your body to not have to be put to work all your digestion and everything that has to happen, which, most of our dis-ease is coming from the gut. Okay, because you've got all this 26 feet of intestine inside of you. So we'll get into lots of different things like that I would love to be able to share with you, because I think that people, when you're educated, you have a tendency to do way better when you know better. And most of us have never learned this. Most of us, and unfortunately, we've been lied to about a lot of things. And we've been jeopardized with our GMOs that's happening in our food and all of that stuff. But we can navigate through that, okay? And we're going to be absolutely fine navigating through it and learning about it. So, we will share that in different episodes as we go through this, and also have lots of different people on that are experts in lots of these areas that I'm really excited to be able to share with everyone too.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely have an episode on, the things that we put into our body and what happens, right? And this whole fasting thing, I'm so curious because I think I've been unintentionally doing that for a long time. And I just feel like fasting doesn't work for me anymore because, like, my body is so used to me not eating for at least 12 hours a day, and
Well,
so,
that's
but
intermittent fasting, and that's really good. Absolutely.
really,
Yes.
I don't know, I'm still gaining weight. Stop the spam and the chocolate,
There
right?
you go. Well, and we can talk about that too, because there's ways of not spam. Spam is like, you need to definitely not allow that in your house, because that's the other thing. When I first did the health ed at Hippocrates, the first thing I wanted to do to help people is to go into their kitchen and say, okay, we're going to start right here. Look in your pantry and everything that does not serve you, because there's only two possibilities here, guys. It either is good for you or it's bad for you. There's no in between. Okay, so let's just get things around you that's really good for you, that's going to support your body and have it so you don't have to suffer, right? So that's the first thing we do, because if it's in your house, it's really hard not to do it, not to have it.
That's very true because my husband always says, if you buy that, then you have that obligation to eat it, right?
That's
So
right.
don't buy it.
That's right.
Okay, so if you don't have it in the house, then you don't see it, you don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
And I'm always like junk food aisle, everything off of the shelf, into the cart. And he's just like, he he's like he's never met someone that loves junk food so much as I do.
Well,
But I don't let Jacob eat junk food. I told you that, right? So I secretly eat in my closet.
yeah, she's a great mama, but she's just like a little bit. We just need to get her around more healthy stuff a little bit at a time. And you know what, guys? It does take baby steps. And most of the time, people don't do baby steps, and they jump into it, and then they go after 3 days. I can't do this anymore, and it's because they took on too much, and then they feel bad because they failed, and then they just get worse than they were before. How many times have you known somebody that they lose a lot of weight and then after a while they just go back to being bigger than they were before they lost weight? And that's because there wasn't, the body was following the mind, and the mind needs to be more educated and more of a believer in what they can actually do. And you know what this all comes down to, Shane? One word: love. You got to love yourself. You got to love yourself enough to know that you don't deserve to be suffering. No, God didn't put you here for that. It really is. If there's one word for us all to live by, it's love. And I know that's like a cliche too, but it's true. So, but you know what, guys? I want to share something with you about the next episode because it's super exciting. We interviewed a young lady, and I actually did it from my car, because to me, when there's stories out there that need to be heard, it doesn't matter where we are. You might be, I might be interviewing somebody on the beach or on the boat or where, but this young lady I met in a Goodwill store, and she waited on me, and I forget, she actually explains how we got started talking. I was telling her about my daughter who lives in France, and she hasn't been home for the holidays for like a decade. So, and I guess I must have bought something that day for my daughter Elise. And so we started talking about it, and she said she lost her mother when she was 9. And so this young lady has a lot to share with us that I'm excited to be able to have you guys hear, because I think that it's inspiring and it gives a lot of hope. to a lot of people that think there's no hope for me. And so the next episode, we're going to introduce Tanika to you. So I'm excited
Yes.
about that. And again, let's just remind you to go to ewg.org and take a look at what they have there. You can learn so many things about the food you're eating, about the sunscreen you're using, about all kinds of things. So we can talk a little bit more about that in the next episode too, if you'd like. But you know what? I'd like to hear from you about what you guys would like to hear more about, because we're here for you. We're here to share our stories, but we're also here to share your stories. So it's really important to us that we are connected to you and that we can continue to be able to reach anybody in the world that can see us, that has a story that we know can help other people in maybe different parts of the world than what your little world is wherever you are. So we love you guys. We want you to just remember to, like, yeah, do put your notifications on, you know, do do whatever you need to get us back with you, because we're really here for you and we want to be able to connect. So we love you. Big kisses. Bye for now.
Yes. Yes. Our email's on the bottom. Everyone, email us your story or tell us what you want to talk about. Whatever topic it is. Yes. Okay. So, thank you, Marty. Okay.
Thank you, Shane.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. See you next time.